Snow descended in quiet layers over the city center, turning the urban sprawl into a serene fairyland. The flakes floated gently among towering structures, capturing the gleam of street lamps and shop windows. It was enchanting from behind a window, less so for those trapped in the abrupt evening tempest. Michael Reynolds tugged his charcoal wool pull-over snugly across his torso. As he hastened along the pavement, the weather report had predicted only a slight flurry, not this escalating snowstorm. Leaning into the gusts, he concentrated on reaching the bus shelter just ahead. His shift at the Central Library had stretched late, and now all he craved was to return to his modest flat and warm up. As the glass enclosure of the bus stop came into sight, Michael spotted a woman seated alone on the bench. She wore a thin jacket, clearly inadequate for the cold, and her golden hair was speckled with snow. Her arms were clasped tightly around herself, visibly trembling. Michael paused briefly before approaching. "Pardon me," he said softly. "Are you all right?" The woman glanced up, her face pale from the chill, her striking blue eyes meeting his with a blend of astonishment and fatigue. "I'm okay," she answered reflexively, though her shaking frame suggested otherwise. "Just waiting for the next bus." Michael checked the timetable. "That's not for another 20 minutes. He frowned, noting her exposed legs and the flimsy fabric of her coat. "You'll freeze by then." Without hesitation, he unzipped his heavy down jacket gifted by his sister last Christmas and offered it to her. "Please, take this," he said. "I've got my sweater, and my flat's just a few blocks away." The woman eyed the jacket, then Michael. "I couldn't possibly, I insist," Michael interrupted, draping it gently over her shoulders. "It's too cold tonight for formalities." After a brief pause, she slid her arms into the oversized sleeves. "Thank you," she said, her voice carrying genuine relief that warmed Michael's heart. "I rushed out this morning and checked the wrong forecast. Silly mistake." Michael smiled and sat on the bench, keeping a polite distance. "I'm Michael," he introduced. "Emma," she replied, nestling into the jacket's warmth. "Emma Winters." They sat in easy silence for a moment, watching the snow fall. Emma's trembling eased. "Do you work nearby?" Michael asked eventually. Emma hesitated. "Yes, at the Meridian Tower." She gestured vaguely toward the business district. "That's where all the major firms are, right?" Michael said. "I work at the public library, reference desk. Not as grand as a corporate office, but I enjoy it." Emma's smile was warm, transforming her face. "Books were my first passion too, still are, actually." They slipped into effortless conversation, finding common ground in literature and music. Michael forgot the cold as Emma spoke animatedly about her favorite writers. Her enthusiasm contagious. She was surprisingly approachable, lacking the arrogance he might have anticipated from someone at the Meridian Tower. When the bus finally arrived, Emma seemed almost reluctant. She began to remove the jacket, but Michael shook his head. "Keep it for tonight," he said. "You can return it later." "But how will I find you?" Emma asked, pausing at the bus door. Michael pulled a library card from his wallet and jotted his number on the back. "I'm at the library most days," he said. "Or you can call." Emma took the card, studying it before tucking it carefully into her pocket, with a final smile and a thank you. She boarded the bus and disappeared. Michael trudged home through the snow, his sweater inadequate against the chill, but his heart oddly warm. 3 days passed without word from Emma. He tried not to feel let down. She was likely busy with her corporate role and might have left his jacket at the library's desk. Still, he found himself recalling their conversation and her spirited expressions as she discussed her beloved books. On Friday afternoon, while shelving returns in the quiet reference section, the library director appeared, looking unusually rattled. "Michael, someone's asking for you at the front desk," she said, "from Winters Publishing." Puzzled, Michael headed to the front. There stood Emma, dressed in a sharp blue suit but with the same warm smile. "Hello, Michael," she said, holding out a paper bag. "Your jacket," as promised. Drake leaned. "Thank you," he replied, taking the bag instinctively. "Winters Publishing, you work there?" Emma's smile turned slightly bashful. "I do. I'm the CEO, actually." Michael blinked, stunned. "Emma Winters, of course." Winters Publishing was a leading independent publisher, renowned for literary fiction and educational resources. How had he missed the connection? I didn't mean to mislead you, Emma said, noting his expression. It's just refreshing to talk to someone who doesn't know who I am. No, I understand, Michael said quickly. I just feel a bit silly for not recognizing your name, Emma laughed. Don't, it was the most genuine conversation I've had in months. She paused, gathering her courage. Actually, I came for another reason too. Our company is expanding its educational division, and we're creating a new role, director of research and reference materials. When you mentioned your library work, I thought you might be interested. Michael stared, speechless. It's not charity, Emma added quickly. Your background is ideal. I looked you up, master's in library science, 5 years of reference experience, published articles on research methods. We need someone who understands how people use reference materials. I don't know what to say. Michael managed finally. Say you'll come interview. At least, Emma replied. Monday at 10 o'clock. She handed him a business card, simple, white, with elegant black text. Emma Winters, CEO. I will, Michael promised, still dazed. Emma smiled, relief clear in her expression. Good. She turned to leave, then paused. And Michael, thank you again for the jacket. Not many would do that for a stranger. Anyone would have, Michael said softly. No, Emma shook her head. They wouldn't. That's what makes it special. 6 months later, Michael sat in his new office at Winters Publishing, surrounded by sample textbooks and reference guides. Through his window, he saw the city sprawling below, summer sunlight having long replaced the winter snow. His phone buzzed with a text from Emma. Board meeting done. Lunch at the usual spot? Michael smiled as he typed his reply. Their routine had grown naturally. Weekly lunches for work discussions had turned into coffees, dinners, and long city walks as the snow melted and spring bloomed. What began with a simple act of kindness had grown into something neither had anticipated. He grabbed his jacket, the same one he'd lent Emma that snowy night, and headed for the elevator. Stepping into the warm summer air, Michael reflected on how profoundly his life had changed because he'd offered his jacket to a shivering woman at a bus stop, not from the job or the opportunities that followed, but from the bond forged in that moment of simple compassion. Sometimes, he thought, the smallest acts revealed the most about a person, and sometimes they changed everything.